We have come to the final unit of this semester, and that is dealing with the fallacies. After having seen the various rules for correct reasoning, correct argumentation, we are concluding our reflection or our study of logic or deductive logic with giving a thought on fallacies. We can also make mistakes. And so what is the fallacy and what are the various kinds of fallacy? That is what we are going to see in this unit. So in a broad sense, fallacy is an erroneous reasoning. A wrong reasoning is normally said it is a fallacy. Your argument is not correct, and we can say it is fallacious. Fallacious is the adjectival form. Your argument is fallacious means it has not followed the rules of logic. That is the reason why we have studied all the rules of correct arguments. Now, when somebody does not follow all the rules, then the argument is a fallacy or a fallacious argument. Now, that general meaning of fallacy, we can put it more clearly. It is only an explanation. To put it more clearly, it is a type of argument that may seem to be correct, but that proves not to be so on close examination. Apparently, the argument seems to be correct argument. But then, when you look deeper, a close examination when you make, we find it is not a correct argument. It has violated or it has gone against some of the rules of logic, rules of correct argument. And therefore, they are the fallacies. So, although in general sense we can say a wrong argument, but then to be more precise, we are putting it more clearly, an argument that appears to be correct, but then when you look make a close examination of the argument, we find the argument is not correct. Logically, it is fallacious. It has made mistakes. It is useful to study such mistaken arguments, since it will enable one to avoid traps set by others. And to be forewarned is to be forearmed. Now, why do you study fallacies? We understand the need of study of the various rules of argument, because we have to follow the rules in formulating an argument. Understandable. But then why do you study wrong arguments? Are you going to put them into practice? No, it is not for putting them into practice, but rather it is to be aware when somebody makes the wrong argument against you, to trap you, to catch you, then you must be aware, yes, your argument is not correct. I must be able to say your argument is not correct only when you know what are fallacies and what are the various kinds of fallacies and how we can fall into it. All those things are required. That is the reason a caption is put there at the end of that paragraph. To be forewarned is to be forearmed. I do not know how much you understood the meaning of that, all those words. To be forewarned, to be warned before, is to be forearmed. To be armed means to be protected with arm. Suppose you are told there is a snake I saw a snake going into your room. You are warned. To be forewarned. That makes us to be more protective. We will take care better. So that is the reason why we are studying the fallacies, possibilities of so many ways fallacies can be made. You can be the victim of such fallacies. Victim in the sense the others can use fallacies to trap you, to catch you, to prove something which is not actually correctly proved. Therefore, it is good that we are aware of the the fallacies. To be forewarned is to be forearmed. We can divide fallacies into two groups, formal and material. So fallacies can be divided into two groups, formal fallacies and material fallacies. Material. The first division of fallacies. Now, what is each one of them? The formal fallacy is an erroneous reasoning due to the direct violation of any of the rules of syllogism. So, we have seen Aristotle's 8 rules of syllogism. And when you violate any of those rules, we are creating an argument which is fallacious, but that fallacy is referred to as a formal fallacy. So formal fallacy is the fallacy as a result of the violation of any of the rules of argument, rules of syllogism. So now various ways in which we can violate those rules we have seen. Those fallacies, what we have already seen, they are formal fallacies. They are the most important fallacies. But fallacies are not limited only to those direct violation of the 8 rules. There can be also other ways we can make a mistaken argument. And that is the reason why we say there are also material fallacies. Okay, I just complete. When we considered the rules of syllogism, the formal fallacies too are implicitly considered. We did not consider fallacies, we are considering how to make an argument correct. And then in that context we showed that we can also make a fallacious argument when there are more than 3 terms in the syllogism. It is a fallacy. But that fallacy is the result of the violation of one of the rules. And that fallacy we put it under the category of formal fallacy. So the fallacy that comes about as a result of the direct violation of the rules of syllogism, they are called formal fallacy. I think that is sufficient. All erroneous arguments other than direct violation of the rules of syllogism are informal fallacies or material fallacies. So this is another term for material. So this is formal, this is another term is informal. So the fallacies are not limited only to the direct violation of the rules. There can be so many ways we can make wrong argument. And those fallacies, other than the formal fallacies, they are put in a big basket, a big group of material fallacies or informal fallacies. I think the distinction is clear. The formal fallacy, those fallacies which are a result of the direct violation of the rules of syllogism. But there are so many other ways we can make mistaken arguments. All those other fallacies, other mistaken arguments, they are put in the group of material fallacies or informal fallacies. There is no unanimity regarding the number of fallacies. Number of fallacies, now of course, now let me clarify one more point. So when we speak about fallacies under a heading, we are in fact we are limiting ourselves to only material fallacies. So under this heading, whatever we are considering as fallacy, they are only material fallacies, because the formal fallacies are already been seen when we consider the rules of syllogism. Because the rules of syllogism, they show what are the right way of making an argument. And when you violate that one, that is a fallacy. But that is a formal fallacy. But when you in logic, when you speak about fallacies, we are speaking actually about the material or informal fallacies, because other things are not considered as fallacies. They are considered only in the context of clarifying the rules, how the rules are to be employed with regard to every argument. Only that was the main concern. But so therefore we are not concerned about that one. We are concerned here under this heading of fallacies, only material fallacies. Then we are speaking about the unanimity of the numbers. How many material fallacies are there? There is no one opinion. There is no one opinion. But Aristotle, the father of logic, he has given 13 material fallacies. He classifies them into 13 varieties. But later logicians added a few more. They found there are a few others. It is not questioning Aristotle, but then they found there are modern mind is working such a way that more fallacies they are able to create. So later people have given a few more other fallacies. Now what we are doing here, we shall refer to all the fallacies that are made mention of by Aristotle, and a few others of importance, because later logicians are given a few others as well. So going through all the fallacies that are made mention of by the later writers as well, we are classifying them under two groupings. Classifying the material fallacies under two groupings: fallacies of relevance and fallacies of ambiguity. So now we are concerned only about this one, and that we are dividing into fallacies of relevance and fallacies of ambiguity. So this is the way we have situated the meaning of fallacy and how they are divided, and we are concerned only about the material fallacy. This is the logical way of procedure. There are two divisions. We take only one, and then how that is subdivided, that is the logical way of procedure. Not only here, but even when you speak, even when you write, this is the style of writing. This is the logical way of procedure. It is not for study of logic that we follow the logical way. It is for to become logical. What is the purpose? Not for if you study by heart how many material fallacies are there. Very good. That does not communicate. What is the message that is communicated is why we are following a logical style, dividing a question into two groups, and then you leave. I say we are not concerned about that one, but we are concerned about this one. This can be divided into subgroups, and then again subgroups. That is the logical way of procedure. This procedure is the one that is to be comprehended, and not merely the number of divisions that you make under material or informal fallacies. Now we focus our attention on the fallacies of relevance. Fallacies of relevance. Now, what is a fallacy? I have given the explanation or the meaning of fallacies of relevance. already there. I am sure you have already gone through and tried to understand it. Therefore, my explanation is only a repetition. When an argument relies on premises that are not relevant to its conclusion and therefore cannot possibly establish its truth, the fallacy committed is one of relevance. Now, when you make an argument, the argument is based on premises. Therefore, we come to the conclusion. When the premises given are not relevant to the conclusion, we are concluding something that has no connection with the premises that are there, then all those arguments or mistaken arguments are put under the category of fallacies of relevance. Fallacies of relevance. Because normally, it is from the premises we are arriving at the conclusion. From the premises. All men are mortal, Peter is man, therefore Peter is mortal. We are able to come to the conclusion that Peter is mortal. Why? Because there is a relation between the conclusion and the premises. There is a relevance. Relation of relevance is there. It is not simply not two premises. Giving two premises does not give you does not help you to come to the conclusion. Not any premises. Premises that are relevant to the conclusion. Only then we can, that is the normal way of making an argument. But then, when we give premises that has nothing to do with the conclusion, irrelevant to the conclusion, then all those mistaken arguments are called fallacies of relevance. That is a general clarification for all that. A big number of fallacies are there, fallacies of relevance. All of them are characterized by this one. The premises and the conclusion are not related, are not relevant. Okay. After having said that one, we go one by one in the fallacies of relevance. Here the terms that are used are the Latin, but there is a corresponding English equivalent is given. It is not exactly translation, but English equivalent of the same. Because Latin is more precise. Therefore, we want important fallacies are referred to with the Latin expression. The first one is called argumentum ad baculum. Argumentum means argument. Ad baculum. Baculum means stick. That is in Latin, few words enough, it clarifies. That is the speciality of Latin language. Argumentum ad baculum. Now, what is not the meaning of those three words, but rather, what is that fallacy? In English, it is referred to as appeal to force. In order to arrive at the conclusion, you use the force, then thus you arrive at the conclusion. When you use that one in order to arrive at the conclusion, then it is a fallacy. It is not the conclusion is not based on the given premises. And when you make that kind of a fallacy, it is called argumentum ad baculum, appeal to force. When one appeals to force or threat of force, every word is important. Appeal to force or threat of force. I will give you this punishment if you do not agree with me. Or you give a a few beatings, and then you say, now, what is now? Is it day or night? Night. Okay. Because out of fear. So, either you use force, or you frighten the people with the threat of force in order to cause an acceptance of a conclusion. A conclusion is arrived at. Conclusion is apparently arrived at, not proved by force. Do you agree? Otherwise, I'll make you agree by force. When one commits, then in that case, one commits the fallacy of appeal to force or argumentum adu baculum. It takes place normally when one's argument is weak. It is only a little explanation I have added. I don't think Aristotle has added. Because when one's argument is weak means what? Not you are not speaking about muscle. Weak means I am not very clear, not very strong in my argument. Then immediately I will try to shout. You raise the voice. If the argument is strong, you don't have to shout aloud, because the words that you use, they are in logical flow. I need not shout aloud. All men are mortal, Peter is man. Therefore, Peter is mortal. I don't have to come with a stick, or I don't have to raise my voice to make sure that you agree. It is enough. Any man of reason will understand that one. So here, when one's argument is weak, the logical or the rationality of the argument is weak, or logicality, then normally we are liable to go for the appeal to force. There is no argument, no reasons to give for the conclusion. Conclusion I have already fixed. What is to be now? I am looking for reasons, and there are no reasons. Therefore, what I do? I will frighten them. I will appeal to force. I will raise my voice. And then naturally, people who are a weakling, they will subdue themselves and agree with that one. It is the argument of the wolf and the lamb. So that is in the Panchatantra stories, there is the story of the wolf and the lamb. Of course, the young people like you don't know all those things. You know many other things, but not the Panchatantra stories. Panchatantra, they are the moral stories with a message, like our parables in the Bible. So one of the stories in the Panchatantra is about the argument between the wolf and the lamb. So, okay, not so much. Okay. The lamb is drinking water here, and the wolf is here. And then the wolf is shouting, "Don't come and drink water from the stream where I am drinking, because you are stirring the water, and I have to drink the water that is dirtied by you. You are standing in the water, you are drinking the water from the same stream, and then as a result, I am drinking water that is stirred by you. So then the lamb very meekly, lamb must have studied Aristotelian logic. So lamb immediately said, I am drinking from the downstream. Downstream means on the lower part. I am drinking from the downstream. That is the expression in English. And if downstream, naturally, water will not flow up. Even if I am dirtying here, it will not go. It will not dirty the water here. What the lamb said was correct. And wolf also understood it was correct. But then wolf cannot accept. Therefore, you want me to, you are arguing with me. You are a lamb, I am a wolf. So came and killed the lamb. Argument. So that is the argument of the lamb, the argument of the wolf against the lamb. And this is used not only by killing, but mainly by threatening force, strong when wars and various strong arm methods of intimidation. I just show my might. We show on the Republic Day the might of Indian army to show that don't play with us, but accept what we say. So it is, or that is done also in the villages. The village head, what he says becomes the truth. The powerful, the rich man says becomes the truth. Same argument, same fallacy is done. It is not because logically correct premises are used, but rather their power and their threat of power is used in order to apparently to prove to the other that what I am saying is correct. Wars and various strong arm methods of intimidating, find out the meaning from the dictionary, are non-rational methods to enforce one's conclusion. You try to intimidate someone with your muscle power, with your frightening, and then as a result, you are forced to accept the conclusion that I have proposed. That is simply, it is a fallacy, argumentum ad baculum. Might is right. That is an English saying. Might is right. Where there is one who is mighty becomes the right one. So that is the first and one of the important fallacy of relevance. So there is, the arguments are not, the premises are not relevant to the conclusion, but rather the premises are irrelevant. What is the premise? My power, my might. And I show that one, therefore you have to accept. You accept not because of the premises, but because of my might or threat of might, threat of force. That is the first one. The second one is argumentum ad hominem. Argumentum, okay. Ad hominem, since it is already printed and there is no spelling mistake there, but you follow those spelling. Argumentum ad hominem. Every word, of course, the meaning is argumentum is argument. Argument, ad of course are several meaning. Hominem, homo, hominis means man, human being. Argumentum ad hominem. It is, in English, it is rendered as a given there, argument against the person. What is the speciality of this particular fallacy? Here, in this case of fallacy, instead of arguing out one's conclusion, you show the conclusion by referring to the premises. Instead of that one, what do? One attacks the person of the opponent. You attack the person rather than concluding something which you want to conclude. And how do you do that one? There are two ways of attacking attacking the opponent or the person of the opponent: by abusing him or by referring to his circumstances. Either you abuse him directly, you are such and such a person. That is abusing that person, attacking the person. Other one is referring to his circumstances, his situation. You bring out situations and to show that his argument is not correct. Example will clarify. So the point that is conveyed here through this fallacious argument is this argumentum ad hominem, is this, namely, you attack the person of the opponent. We are arguing with somebody, and then I want to defeat him by my argument, by my conclusion. Therefore, what do? Instead of showing the conclusion logically, you attack the person, start attacking the person. Either directly abuse him, by abusing him, or by bringing out his background, his family background, and so on. That is also another technique that is used. In the first case, now we have subdivided, made a distinction in the case of the argumentum ad hominem. It can be, the general meaning is that it attacks the person or the opponent. How to attack? Two ways of attacking. One is directly abusing the person. Attacking doesn't mean that you go and physical attacking, but rather abusing the person. You call all galleys against that person. Another one is bringing out his circumstances, the background, which are not bright, which he thinks it will be helpful for him to come to the conclusion. Okay. So in the first case, in the case of abusing the other, in the first case, the personal character of the opponent is abused. You go on telling what you are. I know what you are. What is your character? All those things. You go on speaking a list of abuses against that person. And by pouring out all the list of abuses against the person, forgetting that it is irrelevant to the correctness or incorrectness of the argument. It has nothing to do. You are an atheist. How can you say now it is daytime? You are only just abusing that person, but whether he is an atheist or a theist or is a person with black head or white head or fair complexion or dark complexion, it has nothing to do with the conclusion. You are going on abusing the person without or forgetting it has nothing to do with the correctness or incorrectness. The conclusion does not become correct or incorrect by the shape of that person, by the height of that person, by the family of that person. We are going on abusing that person. In the second case, one is made to accept a conclusion because of one's special circumstances, such as religious or political affiliation or cultural affiliation. He is a drunkard, a womanizer, an atheist. How can he be true in this conclusion? It is the first case. You are going on abusing that person. You are an atheist, you are a womanizer, and you are also a drunkard. How can this conclusion be correct? It is irrelevant. Nothing to do with the correctness or incorrectness of the argument. The other one is it right for India to possess a nuclear bomb? Is it right for India? Because it was when I was in Louvain, the Indira Gandhi exploded and India became one of the nuclear powers. And then the immediate response of many of the people, they could not accept the fact that India is capable of doing that one. Immediately they are finding the morality of that one. It is not right for India to be a nuclear or to possess a nuclear bomb. Why? Because in the background of India is a poor country. But that does not speak about the rightness or wrongness of possessing the nuclear bomb. It is only calling the background. Look at the streets in many countries, many of the states, unemployed, without any food, without any clothing. And then how can India possess a nuclear bomb? They are referring to the background. And then there we are breaking this, it is an argument ad hominem, but in the second case, by referring to the background of the person, we think that we have disproved his position, the other's position. The second is also called tu quoque argument. That was in Latin it is used. Tu quoque. Tu quoque means, tu means you, and quoque means also. You too. In the writings of Shakespeare about the Cicero, Caesar, there the expression used is you too, Brutus. That is the dialogue in the Shakespeare's Caesar. Those of you know something about literature. So the question that is asked, you too, Brutus. Now what is the background? Those of you who do not know, I don't think anyone know. I can see from the face that you are totally ignorant and simple and innocent. What is the Caesar was killed. So many people came to kill him. And in that, there was also Brutus. Brutus was the close friend of Caesar. Caesar could not believe. When he saw Brutus, he is asking, tu quoque Brute? You too, Brutus? That means, you were a friend of mine. Now, you have become a murderer of mine. Referring to the background, referring to his background. So, this argument is also called tu quoque. You too, India. You too can be a nuclear power. How is it possible? No. So that you too, that the tu quoque, you too. How is it possible? Referring to the background. How can you how can you hold this position? Because you are only coming from this background. I know your background. So you are referring to his background and saying, therefore, you cannot be correct. You are coming from a particular sociological background. You cannot be correct. How can you be correct? So this kind of, without our knowledge, we use this kind of argument to prove if one is coming from this familial background, then of course what he says will be true. If from another familial background, what he says will not be true. We are referring here not to the premises that are given, but rather we are simply attacking the person by abusing him. You are like this, you are like this, therefore your argument is not correct. Or your background I know, this is your background, therefore your argument is not correct. Either one of these two ways, when we argue out a conclusion, then the conclusion is irrelevant, or the premises that are given are irrelevant to the conclusion, and therefore it is a wrong argument and a fallacious argument. I stop here.